Researchers have spent decades studying who joins cults. There are 7 documented factors that make someone a target. By the end of this video, you will have checked at least 3 of them. The last thing every cult member remembers thinking before they joined is that they would never join a cult. Not one of them walked in knowing what it was. They walked in because of a friend, or a free dinner, or the feeling that someone finally understood them. The cult came later. By then, they were already inside. The answer to who joins cults is not who most people expect. Recruits to new religious movements are on average more educated than the general population, more idealistic, more likely to have a college degree. 70% of cult members during the 1970s were recruited directly on college campuses. Nexium, the organization later convicted of sex trafficking, recruited Emmy-winning actresses, corporate executives, and an heiress to $1 billion fortune. Jim Jones's congregation was full of teachers, social workers, and activists, people who had dedicated their lives to helping others. The profile of a cult member is not someone broken or desperate or dim. It is someone a great deal like you. Cult recruiters are trained. They work from playbooks. They keep files on potential members, notes on their losses, their hopes, their weak spots, and they share those files with other members before anyone makes contact. They know what you need before they meet you. Here are the 7 things that they look for. Not weaknesses, human qualities, the kind every functioning, thoughtful person has. The kind that, under the right conditions, can be used against them. 1. You recently went through something. Moving to a new city, ending a relationship, losing someone, graduating, starting over. Those are the windows recruiters are trained to find when the structures that normally anchor a person, the friendships, the routine, the sense of place have shifted, the need for belonging arises. The social network is thinner. Identity feels less fixed. Recruiters are taught to be present in exactly these moments. The first conversation feels like luck, like running into the right person at the right time. Cult recruitment manuals describe this as finding someone at the point of maximum openness. They don't find you by accident. 2. You're looking for something, not a cult, something else, meaning, a cause, a community that feels real, a framework for the world that actually holds together. Cults don't present themselves as cults. They present themselves as whatever the recruit is already seeking. If you want spiritual depth, the group has it. If you want to change the world, the group is doing that work right now. If you want to belong somewhere that matters, the group is the most purposeful place you have ever walked into. The recruit doesn't choose a cult. They choose something that looks like the answer to a question they've been carrying for years. 3. Someone finally understands you. This is called lovebombing, and it's not an accident. From the first interaction, the group is warm, attentive, interested in you specifically. They remember what you said last week. They check in on you. They make you feel seen in a way that most relationships don't. The warmth is real. The attention is real. The feeling of being understood is real, but it was engineered. The recruitment team shared notes before they approached you. They know your situation, your losses, what you've been looking for. The feeling of finally being understood was produced from information that you gave freely to people you thought were just being friendly. 4. You said yes to something small. 1 meeting, 1 free dinner, 1 online group, 1 weekend retreat. This is the foot in the door technique, one of the most documented principles in social psychology. A small initial commitment changes how the person sees themselves. After 1 small meeting, you're the kind of person who goes to meetings. The next request is slightly larger, then the next. No single step requires a dramatic decision. Each one is only a little bigger than the last. By the time the demands become extreme, money, time, isolation from family, leaving feels like the irrational choice. You've already given up too much to walk away now. That calculation is not an accident. De-escalation is designed to produce it. 5. You believe in something strongly. Idealism is not a weakness, but it is a tool. The groups that have caused the most documented harm are not the ones that targeted desperate people. They targeted people who wanted to change the world. People with energy, intelligence, and a genuine need to do something that mattered. The group offers a mission, a clear enemy, a sense that this group alone is doing the necessary work. For someone who has always wanted to matter, the feeling of finally being a part of something that does matter is very difficult to leave behind. The more a person cares about the cause, the harder it becomes to accept that the cause might be a cover for something else. 6. You like clear answers. Ambiguity is uncomfortable for some people more than others. Cults offer certainty. Everything inside the group has an explanation. Everything outside it is corrupt, dangerous, or simply wrong. The world becomes legible in a way that it never was before. Questions that kept you up at night now have answers. The research is consistent. People with a lower tolerance for ambiguity are disproportionately targeted because a person who is uncomfortable with uncertainty will work harder to stay inside a system that eliminates it, even when the cost is high. 7. You don't think it could happen to you. This is the one that matters the most. Researchers consistently find that the single biggest predictor of vulnerability is the belief that you aren't vulnerable. The defense isn't up because the defense is only for other kinds of people. Every cult member, long before they joined, said exactly the same thing. Here is what most content about cults leaves out. The person who approached you, who remembered your name, who showed up at the right moments, who seemed to understand you like no one else had, was not running a manipulation. They believed in the group. They thought it had changed their life. They were sharing something real with someone they genuinely cared about. And they were recruited the same way you were being recruited. And the person who recruited them didn't know what they were doing either. This is how the system runs. The chain of people who brought you in goes all the way back to the beginning of the group. At almost every link in that chain, the person was acting out of genuine love and genuine belief. Nobody thought they were doing anything wrong. Most of them still don't. The most effective cult recruiter is a true believer. There is no villain in the room with you. There is a system designed to feel like something else, running on the warmth and conviction of people who were caught in it before you arrived. Just being aware of this list is not protection. The groups that use these mechanics are not always religious. They are in wellness communities, political movements, multi-level marketing companies, and online spaces with millions of members. The mechanics work wherever there are people who want to belong to something, and someone who has learned how to offer it. Protection is slower than a list. It looks like noticing when a group makes you feel like you finally found your people, and pausing before you decide that that feeling means anything. Belonging can be manufactured. Love can be a strategy. The feeling of being understood by a group of strangers faster than you've ever been understood before is not evidence of a rare connection. It may be evidence that someone has been practicing.